and he once tried to stop the Queen watching Close Encounters of the Third Kind, claiming it was a satanic plot to seize control of her mind.
Basically a false flag alien invasion, or a false flag second coming.
That picture's combined the two. It's Jesus riding a UFO like a hoverboard! Hello lovely people, my name is Emma. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new. Aliens!
Aliens!
Somebody sent me this article a while ago. Demonic forces stopped official investigations into UFOs in the UK. So thank you very much for that. I thought, brilliant, that's very funny. I'll have a read of that. Did not expect the rabbit hole that this took me down. So the bulk of stuff we're going to talk about today revolves around a chap called Nick Pope. No relation. Nick Pope formerly worked at the Ministry of Defence. He's very interested in UFOs, UAPs. You may be familiar with him already if you have watched Ancient Aliens, which I have not. People keep telling me I must. I haven't been able to bring myself to do it yet. Let me know in the comments if you want me to review Ancient Aliens, because I'll do it for you, but I won't do it for me. So this article refers to Nick Pope as the UK's leading expert on UFOs, which he probably is. I don't really know what the criteria is. And this article kind of puts together some of the things that he's said, not written by him, it's written by a Catherine Fiddler. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, sorry. But this puts together some things that Nick said about essentially some quite out there religious views getting in the way of UFO investigations back in the 90s. This will all come back around to present day. I'm telling you, it was a rabbit hole. I do want to apologise if I become a pirate at points throughout this video. I won't go into details because it freaks people out, but I have this thing every now and then, my eyes get dry and I hurt my eye in my sleep, and then for the next day I have blurry vision. So it's not a great day for reading a lot of information, which is what I'm going to do here. So if I end up doing this, it's just so I can see what I'm reading properly. I'm sorry. That is why I cannot wear contact lenses so often, especially in the winter. The good news is I own a lot of fashionable glasses. If you're in the same boat as me, if you want to spice up your wardrobe with some new fabulous glasses, you are going to want to hear from today's sponsor. If you didn't already know, GlassesUSA.com is one of the biggest eyewear retailers in the US. They offer thousands of eyeglasses and sunglasses brands such as Ray-Ban, Gucci, Oakley. They also do contact lenses, and what's best about GlassesUSA.com is that their glasses start at only $39, which are up to 70% off retail prices. I never, ever buy glasses in the opticians anymore. There's no point paying those prices when I can get my prescription, say thank you very much, and then go home and order from a much bigger collection at much better prices. Now, if the massive selection sounds intimidating to you, if you are overwhelmed by choices, do not fear. They have a really cool quiz you can take, which takes like a minute, and it suggests the right pair of glasses based on your face shape and your needs. You simply take this perfect match quiz. I'm looking for eyeglasses. I do currently have a prescription. If you know your exact frame size, you can just put it in. If you don't, it will help you estimate. Once you've gone through your face shape, you can then get onto the really exciting bit of the type of frame styles that you like. I went extremely specific on this just to see what would come up. It's picked 6 styles for me. I set it to really narrow parameters and I still found ones that I really like, which is good because I can show you the live try-on feature. So there's the AR virtual try-on, right, which is super exciting. You get this little circle to put your face into, so but I've got these glasses on in AR. How would it look in blue? Ooh, quite like that. I've never worn blue. I find those tools, the AR try-on and the quiz, super useful. I use them while picking my glasses. Plus, shopping online at GlassesUSA.com is a risk-free shopping experience with free shipping and returns and a 100% money-back guarantee within 14 days. The glasses I'm wearing currently are the Muse Cherish. I love these ones. I bought them as like a more funky, like to go with specific outfits or whatever. I probably actually wear these the most at the moment, and I get the most compliments on these. This next pair is the Revel Relay in green. I do have a bit of a thing for green. It is my favourite colour, to be fair, so it's not like a weird thing. I love these. These are just super funky. They're just like quite classical. I like the bigger rounded style. I don't know why. It's sort of, there's like a classic nerd kind of vibe to this style that I really like. And they've just got this hint of green that I just think is super fun. I love having a little bit of something. on the sides, especially when I used to have my hair shaved at the sides. If you have really short hair here, having something fun on the sides just brings a little something something. Finally, I have the Bolson. I wear these quite often when I'm at my computer because I got these with blue light blocking in them. I just really like this style. Again, it's like this kind of classic rounded but a little bit smaller that gives kind of a professory vibe. Whenever I'm wearing my professory jumpers and things, I usually accessorize with these glasses. I just really like them. GlassesUSA.com is offering a crazy exclusive discount on top of any coupon code they currently have on the website, just for you guys. It's only available for 24 hours, so make sure you check out the link at the top of the description box for all of the details. Thank you so much, GlassesUSA.com, for sponsoring this video. And once again, my style. So let's take a look at this article first of all. I want you to go on the journey with me. The government failed to properly investigate unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAPs. Can I get a round of applause for getting those words out correctly? In the 90s, over fears they were caused by demonic forces, the UK's leading expert has claimed. The UK's leading expert being Nick Pope, who led the Ministry of Defence's UFO desk between 1991 and 1994. Nick said the then Chief of Defence Staff Lord Hill Norton stopped investigating sightings after being influenced by a controversial priest. According to Nick, this idea stems partly from a verse in Ephesians that refers to the Prince of Power of the Air. Which, you know what, well, we're here, we're talking about the Bible. I'll get it for you. Why not? I've got to be really careful today not to go on a lot of tangents because I find this super interesting. Ephesians is one of the disputed letters of Paul, as in, traditionally there are 13 letters written by Paul in Bible canon. According to modern Bible scholarship, there are 7 undisputed letters of Paul, and 6 disputed letters, i.e. there are 6 that might not actually have been written by Paul. Ephesians is one of those. Let's just say there's a minority in New Testament scholars that believe Ephesians was written by Paul. So I only mention that because when weirdly specific bits of phrasing from certain books of the Bible are used to interfere with the running of government, say, I think it helps a lot to have a small historical understanding of, okay, so a lot of the books of the Bible are accepted into the canon because it was believed traditionally that they were written by somebody who had authority that we can say, oh yes, they must have been right and thus that's why it's in the canon. This is in the canon because it was traditionally considered written by Paul, but it probably wasn't. So it should already be taken with maybe more of a pinch of salt than usual. Anyway, Ephesians chapter 2. This is according to the English Standard Version. Sorry if that's a problem for you. And you were dead in the trespasses and sins in which you once walked, following the course of this world, following the prince of power of the air, a spirit that is now at work in the sons of disobedience. That's it. Those couple of lines, basically the one line, following the prince of the power of the air, is at least part of the basis that people use to form a religious understanding of UFOs. So Nick says that this belief is stifling adequate research. He says the thinking seems to be that if UFOs are some sort of demonic manifestation, engaging with it feeds them by giving them energy and should therefore be avoided. That must be very frustrating if you're trying to do your work and somebody's like, listen, clearly we're supposed to infer that the prince of the power of the air is the devil. Well, whatever. It's not for me to say. Something reported by Pentagon UFO investigator Louis Elizondo? I'm sure I'm pronouncing everybody's names wrong, I'm so sorry. He said that when trying to get, this is still quoting Nick, he said that when trying to get a senior defense official engaged on the subject, he was rebuffed by the officer who told him to go and read his Bible. Here's where it gets super interesting. I saw a similar thing in the UK, Nick says, when the former Chief of Defence Staff Lord Hill Norton fell increasingly under the influence of a maverick priest, Paul Inglesby, who believed the phenomenon was demonic. So I looked up Paul Inglesby, which took me to this 13-year-old article in the Sydney Morning Herald. Man of God believed flying saucers were sent by the devil. Father Paul, otherwise known as Lieutenant Commander the Reverend Paul Inglesby, held unconventional views on the origin of UFOs. This is my favourite bit. And he once tried to stop the Queen watching Close Encounters of the Third Kind, claiming it was a satanic plot to seize control of her mind. Now, I have seen that movie. There's another little piece of evidence for the folks out there that want to claim that I am secretly a demon. He wrote a book in 1978 called UFOs and the Christians. In 1978, he established the Christian UFO Research Association, a group of ufologists or ufologists? I'm going to say ufologists, and we'll just move on. And clergymen, I know how to say that one, whose aim was to warn the public about the dangers of an obsessive interest in flying saucers, which he warned was fraught with menace for the unwary and riddled with heresy and false belief. It's hard to understand exactly why thinking that a UFO might be an alien would be some sort of barrier to salvation. I'm just struggling to correlate those things in my mind. Back to the original article, which adds that while serving, Inglesby was struck down with a severe illness and suffered extreme hallucinations, which would later go on to inform his views on UAP. He also claimed to have had an out-of-body journey to Mars. Who is this? Who is this, and has anyone written a book about him? Because I would fucking read that. Basically, I'm making a mental note here that we need to look more into the life of Reverend Paul Inglesby, because wow. After leaving the Navy and joining the church, he garnered significant influence over a number of high-profile public figures. I wonder if they knew about the illness and the hallucinations. Mr. Pope says there were other clues that suggested some MOD officials with responsibility for UAP were at least influenced by a sort of fundamentalist Christian view. This is quite funny. This is an interaction he had with a deputy head of division, who thought we should scale back our UAP work belonged to a rather austere church. During a NATO war game we were participating in, he was issued with a pager over the weekend, and I made a friendly and light-hearted comment about how he wouldn't be popular if it went off in church while they were singing All Things Bright and Beautiful. He stared at me and defensively retorted that they didn't sing that sort of hymn in his church. What's wrong with All Things Bright and Beautiful? That's a fucking banger. All things bright and beautiful. The article concludes noting that the MOD closed down its UFO desk in 2009, stating nothing reported to it in 50 years had been deemed a military threat. There's a note at the bottom of this article. Here Nick Pope talk more about UFOs in new documentary God vs. UFOs, out now on Prime and Tubi. So I was like, okay, yes please. Can I find God vs. UFOs on Prime and Tubi? No, I cannot. The worst thing is, obviously I looked up God vs. UFOs. Not only is Nick a feature, but Yvette Fielding is, in my opinion at least, a darling of British presenters. She was on a show that I've mentioned before because I loved it so much, called Most Haunted, which was like a British supernatural show. It was her, love her, and a British medium, a psychic known as Derek Akora, who I don't love, but also, rest in peace, he died a couple of years ago, so I won't harp on him too bad. Anyway, that show had it was awesome, and do you know what? Derek Akora was very funny on it, because every week he would be possessed by somebody in the haunted location they were visiting. Every single location. They never got to a single place and were like, don't think there's anyone here. And Yvette would sort of scream and run around and get upset, bless her. And Derek would be like, Joan, I'm here, Joan, you know, or whatever. Anyway, they had, one of the great things about Most Haunted is they often had skeptics taking part, right? And their resident skeptic at the time left the name of a notorious jailer and mentioned him out loud within earshot of Derek Akora, this psychic. And he had written down this name, Creed Kafer. And then when they started filming, Derek Akora claimed to be possessed by the man, who their skeptic later revealed was completely made up, and in fact an anagram of Derek Faker. Derek left the show, Yvette was very upset, it was a whole thing. I'm sorry, I'm sure it was really upsetting to people that genuinely believed in him, but really believing that this unusual chap was getting possessed by spirits on a weekly basis for a TV show, and that it was completely genuine all the time. I mean, even if you believe in psychic abilities, it's a bit of a stretch. Anyway, the point is, do you know what? I should review some Most Haunted on here, because a lot of people don't know anything about it, haven't seen it, and I loved it, so we should do that. It would be really funny. That's Most Haunted. That's Yvette Fielding, who I love. And she's apparently in this documentary that is linking the supernatural with UFOs. And I can't find it, and I want to see it. Apparently, it came out in the US in December, and it will release in the UK, God knows on what channel, in 2024, time unspecified. There's just so little about it online that it's really... So I really would like to find that because, oh my gosh, Yvette Fielding, there's religious figures alongside UFO believers. I really want to see it, but I did manage to find on the Nub TV YouTube the trailer for God vs. UFOs. So I thought we could watch that together. I mean, at the very least, what a logo. My God, if you'll pardon the phrase.
One of the experiments that we had performed to see whether or not we could summon something within the forest, it worked.
It worked! Oh my God. Why is whoever this is not made national news? Maybe he did and I just missed it. They summoned something in the forest, please tell me.
Okay. We summoned a UFO.
We've got the convergence of...
They summoned a UFO! Oh, so maybe it was coincidence. They were trying to summon, I don't know, a spirit. And at the same time, coincidentally, a UFO popped by.
Many things. We've got the advancement of AI.
Love that badge.
We've got the Hadron Collider, back to explore different dimensions. We've got disclosure in America. These are massive things all coming together at the same time. Is it coincidence?
Yes. That kind of interpretation, these signs are all happening at the same time. And it does often feel like that. How often do we even jokingly go, feels like the end times? Like when the weather's going all crazy and there's serious weather events all over the world and then crazy illnesses spreading and, that when there's a lot going on and you're like, oh God, it feels like the end of the world. It does feel like that, but it has felt like that to people since antiquity, since time immemorial, I would expect. I mean, the foundation of Christianity is in apocalyptic Judaism. They thought the world was ending right now. I'm not saying they're saying the world is ending, but clearly they're saying there is something, the fact that we have reached certain levels of study in certain topics. I don't know what exactly he thinks is going on with AI, but it's not as advanced. I can tell you for absolute sure, whatever's going on, it's not as advanced as whatever he thinks. We're not approaching the singularity, is what I'm saying. Large Hadron Collider is pretty cool. It's been doing stuff for a while. Don't know what they're up to right now. It all goes a bit over my head, to be honest.
I think it's no accident, and this might be about people's psychological makeup. I think it's no accident that alien abduction experiences in the recent past actually mirror people who met earth spirits, fairies and things like that centuries ago.
I think the whole...
Does it? Do they? Citation needed. I guess that's an experiment to do if anyone's got some time on their hands. Collate all the stories you can find about people encountering earth spirits such as fairies and modern alien abduction stories. Compare the similarities and differences, see if that checks out. And then get back to me. Thank you. Great shirt on this guy.
Whole nuts and bolts thing, and then from another world, is diverting people. It's the elephant in the room. It's diverting people away from what's really going on. I think because we live in a technological age, we call them aliens of extraterrestrial craft. 100 years ago, they'd have been demons and angels.
Agreed. Impossible to know what his specific stance is just based on that bit. Clearly the documentary is trying to be so it could be demons and angels, but it's absolutely not clear what that guy believes. It kind of sounds like he might be this is all just distracting us from other things, which is something I might be inclined to agree with, but again, I don't have context for his actual views, so I'll just hold back and say, cool.
If another civilization like ours existed billions of years ago, they had much more time to develop their science and technology, and it is possible that they would be able to figure out if there are extra spatial dimensions and take advantage of them using quantum gravity engineers.
I mean, yeah, there's just quite a substantial gulf between it's possible if aliens lived billions of years ago and then continued existing for a really long time, then their science got super advanced and they could do cool stuff. It's a big gulf between that and evidence. But again, we don't know what that guy's views are, so no shade to that guy. Who's this?
A lot of it still looks like magic. How do particles blip in and out of existence? But we know that they do. So is it possible that if you had enough of these particles together, or something else that's governed by the same principles, has the same components, can it also blip in and out of existence?
If you're going to...
I think that person might be referring to quantum tunneling. Again, it's very hard to know without the context, but I think that's what they're talking about. I'm going to give my very best attempt at a really simple layman's explanation of this, because I've read a lot of books about quantum physics and quantum gravity theories and stuff like that in the last couple of years. Every for babies, basics for people who don't know maths and physics book that I could get my hands on. So I think I vaguely understand the concept, but folks who always appear in the comments to tidy up and correct things I've said and provide more information, love you. If you're out there, please carry on. Keep on keeping on. You're the best. Sorry for saying love you. I might have made it weird. The basic concept, as I understand it, is that on the quantum level, quantum events are governed by probabilities. As I understand, the probability exists for a particle to be found if you have a box with particles. The probability of it being found on the other side of the barrier exists. So it seems as though the wave function can penetrate the barrier. Obviously, in classical mechanics, if there's a barrier, you can't pass through it. In quantum mechanics, there exists a possibility that the particle that was here can suddenly be here and remain here. And how that happens, I believe, is unknown. I'm sure there's a lot more complicated information around that would provide better insight. That's about the limit of what I know. The other thing I've sort of gathered from reading about quantum physics, I shouldn't even try, but I'm doing my best because we're trying to react to this trailer, is that, there's not necessarily the hard barrier between the quantum realm and the macro realm, but that there's sort of a transition between the physics that just means that quantum events don't stop happening. They just become explained by classical physics at a certain level. I don't know if that affects quantum tunneling being used by aliens to teleport. I'm not exactly sure what I'm saying here, just that I would definitely need to defer to an expert to understand whether that sort of thing was possible or even potentially hinted at by quantum tunneling. That was all to say that I'm skeptical. Oh no, I'm sorry.
From a biblical perspective, you're always going to put it into a demonic kind of category.
What I don't understand is...
I'll take your word for it. Who's this?
Are they covering it up so they don't want to scare... what would be more scary? Is telling people that angels and demons exist.
In a way, if we did get the answers, would that be actually what we want? Think about it. We'd probably be changed people, wouldn't we?
Yeah, but we'd be changed people with the truth. We'd be elevated. If it turned out that angels and demons were real and there were certain implications in terms of how to be saved, and if that could lead to the discovery of eternal life and these sort of things, that would be quite important to know, I would have thought. Right? Because people's souls are on the line? I don't think it's the case, so I'm not that worried about it, but I don't think I agree.
Is it possible the Americans were testing their own cutting-edge drone technology against their own pilots?
Simply put, Project Bluebeam is the idea that through a combination of...
Project Bluebeam! I know this one from when I watched conspiracy stuff with my dad. He was very worried about Bluebeam.
Holographic projection technology, Hollywood special effects, and government...
Hollywood special effects. As a phrase, it hurts my soul.
Or deep state spin and manipulation, you could create a false narrative. And the two examples that have been given are you could create basically a false flag alien invasion, or a false flag second coming.
That picture's combined the two. It's Jesus riding a UFO like a hoverboard. No, for real, Project Bluebeam is a big concern in the conspiracy world, especially in the evangelical conspiracy world. My dad 100% believed that at some point there was going to be a false flag global religious experience or a false flag UFO experience, but I think he thought more likely it would be like a false second coming of Jesus. The idea that there could be some kind of holographic projection, realistic enough but not detectable as a holographic projection, that convinced the whole world is, as somebody interested in technology and who has worked in VFX, kind of laughable to me. I'm kind of imagining, like, you know, in Back to the Future, there's like the big the jaw, it's like Jaws 7 or whatever, and the shark comes out and it's like, whoa, but you're like, it's a movie like advert that's coming out of them. That's kind of what I picture. It's like Jesus being like, whoa, get saved, you know? He'd probably say something like that.
This is Project Bluebeam, the idea that you could fake an alien invasion, for example, and then use it to manipulate populations, and the New World Order takes over.
So maybe what's visiting us is not actually alive, it's AI.
AI, future humans.
Oh, what a cliffhanger when the term AI is like so popular in the public sphere. I should probably fact check myself on this, but I believe that the kind of experts have basically suggested that where we're at with general AI is like kind of hitting a plateau. And there's, I believe, struggling to see how we would sort of progress from here, but I better double check. OpenAI CEO suggests that ChatGPT and generative AI have hit the wall and getting bigger won't be the way up. Emma explains things she doesn't understand, part 2. I'll be really quick this time because I haven't read much about it, but what I understand is that the big AI that's making waves at the moment, generative AI, is actually it's not ingenuity, it cannot create, it's built on pattern-based learning from input. Rather than being able to create anything on its own, it's sort of predictive based on what currently exists. Once again, if that sounds insane or I've not got it quite right, either end of the spectrum or somewhere in the middle, feel free to add or correct or whatever down below. I appreciate it. There's going to be some new conspiracy that I say insane shit every now and then just so that people correct me in the comments. I learned a while ago that people mispronounce things on YouTube on purpose so that they'll get engagement in the comments. I've been accidentally doing that like my whole time here. A couple of videos ago, I was going crazy with this guy that was like mispronouncing like every word he said and didn't fact check any of them, and then it was spelled wrong at different points in the video. It could just be that. It could just be people do that on purpose to get engagement. Isn't that crazy? YouTube, man. What a weird place. That was a lot of spinning crazy tangents, but it just, yeah, I went on this crazy internet rabbit hole with just this one article, just this really interestingly weird reverend who like was in the Navy and then got sick and hallucinated and then started focusing on his beliefs that UFOs were actually aliens and his whole thing, and then him influencing the Ministry of Defense into this documentary world where we're questioning whether there is a relation between scripture and spiritual beings and UFO sightings. Just, there's so much going on. I just thought it was really fun and exciting and made me laugh. I really want to watch God versus UFOs. I'll just keep an eye out, I guess, in general, and hopefully this documentary will come to the UK at some point and I'll be able to see it, or if it comes to America in a way that I can get it. Like I said, I've looked where it claimed to have been uploaded in December, and if it's already gone, I guess that could be a thing, but I'm not finding it in the places it's claiming it can be found, and I want to see it so bad. Do let me know your thoughts down below. Could UFOs be demons? Probably not, but maybe you know something I don't. If you liked this video, please do give this video a cheeky like, leave a comment down below, maybe consider sharing it to someone who might enjoy it. Do consider subscribing so you don't miss upcoming videos. There are tons on the channel, tons and tons. Have a look at the playlists if you're vaguely new here, if you want to catch up on some cool stuff. There's some fun stuff in there. If you would like to see more from me, you can check out my gaming channel, Little Duck Gaming, where we play games and have a good time. I also play games on Twitch 3 times a week where I'm live. You can come and say hi and bully me and we have fun. That is at twitch.tv/EmmaLittleDuck. The best way to support this channel is via the Patreon. That is patreon.com/EmmaThorneVideos. I would like to give a massive thank you and a shout out to my giant chickens and colossal quackers over on Patreon. can also become a channel member here for some silly emotes and comment priority. Most importantly, have yourselves a very lovely week, and I will see you really soon.